Alright, doing this video is going to make me a little late posting the 420 video, but I definitely feel like it's worth it. I'm going to start off with a really short story. Oh yeah, this is going to be an episode thing. It's going to be a little series called Story Time. If you want to read them before they come out, because I haven't spoken them and done them on video, but they're all written out already, go to Storytime, Google Storytime Finn Shaggy, and they'll be there. So just you can read them, I'll read them to you over time. So the first one I'm gonna read is gonna be really short, but it's funny. All right, and this first episode is gonna be East Texas because I ran away and went to East Texas for a bit of time, and I might read that one where I ran away, but that might be too long, and I might wait to make another episode to do that. All right, there's a bunch of babies in this house, and like three of them, and we were living there, and there was me, a friend, and then two parents to take care of the babies. And we're in the middle of East Texas, and there's a baby walking around with a potato in his mouth, right? And the husband goes, and he says to his wife, he says, hold on, honey, I thought we were out of taters. And then she says, we are. And he said, then why has he got a tater in his mouth? It was just hilarious. Like, that was a real discussion. It was just hilarious. So, that's the first one, and then let me pick out the second one. Alright, I'm going to tell you the second mushroom story, which is more interesting, and then save the first one for another story, which I'll add on to the runaway story. When I was like 16, I ran away. I was in college. They put me in college because a psychologist said that's why I was getting in trouble, because I wasn't being stimulated mentally. So my probation officer talked to a judge and got me put into college when I was 16 years old. But I'll talk about that more whenever I talk about the runaway story. But alright, so me and my friend, I don't know, okay, Kay, me and my friend Kay, me and him decided we were going to go out to East Texas and find ourselves a mushroom field, because we'd already been out once. This is the second story. We just find some cows, and we decided we'd go to the poop. You look for the fields around like 10 p.m., 9 p.m., and then you go to them about 3, 4 in the morning until like 6 in the morning, maybe at the latest. And then the mushrooms, if they're there, they'll just come up at that time. If the humidity is about 80% and the temperature has to be, the humidity at least 50%, I think, and then the temperature has to be like 80, something like that. Like August in Texas is like a good season, and or September, but East Texas. But so we went to a random gas station. We were just asking if anybody knew the name of this guy that I knew out there, and the lady behind the register said she didn't know him, but then some random kid in the store was like, yeah, I know him. Like, I've met him before. Like, I know exactly where he is. And I was like, yeah. We went outside, and he texted my friend for me because I didn't have her number anymore on my phone. So he texted her, and we ended up meeting with her, and then we went to her house, and we chilled at a park for a little while, and we just waited for her to come because he texted her. She wasn't there yet. And then so we waited at a park, and a cop came up and fucking they just talked to us, asked what we were doing there, and we weren't smoking or nothing, so we didn't get in trouble. Everything was chill. And then okay, so we went to the we went. There's like a dirt road, a country road out to a field, and then there's like a barbed wire fence, barbed wire, yeah. And then on the property next to it, there's a house. We didn't know that house was the farmer's house, so we jumped the barbed wire fence, and we went into the field, and we had our flashlights on and everything. We didn't know the farmer's house was right there, so like we're walking, and you walk down a hill, and then down into a little valley, and then back up another hill. And sometimes there's mushrooms down in that valley because you got cows all over the place. So, like, you just go down there, and there's mushrooms down there. And then we were walking down. We were down in the middle of the valley, and then all of a sudden we hear a gunshot, like a shotgun, and then just some drums just banging, some kind of like Indian drum, and then fucking just dogs. And so like we just ran, and we just ran like crazy, and fucking we went to the back of the property, and we just fucking we jumped that fence because we were like, if we're off his property, nothing will happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he can't shoot us if we're on somebody else's property. So we jumped the line, and we all went separate directions because we all got lost. Somebody had to go take a piss. Somebody else was like, we all got split up different directions, and so we I went down a hill. Most people went up the hill. Like two people went up the hill, two people went back the opposite direction we were all going, and then I went down a hill. Fucking when I went down that hill, that valley on the spot that I was at when I got down the hill to the valley, it was like a swamp. I was walking like up past my pockets in water. I was like holding my cigarettes and my phone. I didn't have my phone yet. I was holding my cigarettes up in the air and fucking I left my phone in the car, so I couldn't call nobody, and I was in this swamp shit all alone and shit. It was crazy. And like when I had to take my shoes off because when I would walk in that shit, it would suck my shoes off of my feet, like they'd be stuck in the shit. And then I was running to a fucking field, and when I would run through that field, cactuses and all kind of spiky shit was getting stuck inside my shoes, so that was stabbing my feet when I was doing. So I had to run and get my foot stuck with shit, and then just wipe it off, and then keep running because it was worse having it in my shoe just stuck there. Like, but that shit sucked. Like prickly pear cactuses, fucking little tiny burrs getting stuck out of all these weeds. Like it sucked. Like but I was just running, fucking, and then. Finally, I saw some headlights and they were going in a circle, like they were doing a donut. And I was like, hey, that's got to be my friends. At least they're just looking for me, you know what I mean? But it wasn't. I got close and it was a cop, like, and they were talking to somebody because they finally stopped by the time I got over there. So I just hid behind a pine tree and just like watched from behind the shadow, just looked at them. And like, because I was probably like 50 yards from them at that point. And then, the cop, I thought it left, right? So I started walking down the street. It went down thinking that was the way out. When I got there, it was a cul-de-sac. So I was like 30 yards from them, and it was fucking a cul-de-sac. I was at a dead end. So I went the other way. I ran. I was like, shit. And then this dog heard me. So I was like, fuck. And then I saw the car. So I was like, shit. So I went and grabbed my phone, closed the door, ran and jumped to some bushes and hid and like texted. I put my face in my shirt and texted inside my shirt. And I texted my friends, and I was freaking the fuck out. And the cops that came back, and the dogs of the farmer were looking at me and barking at me, but the cop was like, get, like telling the dog to go away, but his dogs weren't finding me. They were sniffing for the car. But all we had was a pipe in the car, so there was nothing, like, they couldn't do nothing. And then I waited there forever. Finally, the cops, all right, they yelled in the woods. So they on the megaphone. They said, "Whoever owns this car, you need to come get your car, or we're gonna tow it and we're gonna impound it." Such a broke county, Wood County, that they didn't impound the car. All right, like they didn't impound the car. And then I was in that bush. It was like the property next to the house. Like instead of the property, we're on this one with the barbed wire fence. Here's the farmer's house. I'm on this side. All right, and like there's the bushes over there. And then so I'm sitting there and I hold on. Oh yeah, and then I crossed the road and went and hid behind those pine trees that I was watching from before, and I laid down there, and the fucking farmer, because he went in his house, but then he came out, like, because I went like probably 2 minutes out. He was probably looking out his window, but he saw me, and I went over hid behind the pine tree, and I laid down there, and he came out, and his dogs were over there sniffing me and shit. They weren't attacking me or nothing, but like they just came over and they sniffed and stuff, and so I was like, shit, what do I do? Because he knew I was there, and so I stood up and I just had my hands up and I was like, I wasn't trying to fuck with your shit. Like, I was just walking around. He was like, what made you think you could do that? And I was like, I mean, like, I'm just not from around here. I just thought it was okay to walk around places. And he was like, oh, well, next time you gotta say something to somebody. And I was like, all right. And he just patted me on the back. He was like, your friend's been looking for you. There was a car driving back and forth. Fucking, I didn't even realize. He noticed, though. He knew they were looking for somebody. I had no idea that car was the same one going back and forth. But, he said that we could just take our car, but we should get out of the county as quick as we can because the cops are probably looking for us. It wasn't my car though, so. And then so we left the county. I met up with them, went and told them the story. Fucking, we smoked some bud, and then we didn't get any mushrooms that night. The first trip we did get in, so that story I'll tell you if I get mushrooms. And then yeah, so that's those two stories. Next time I'll tell you the first time I ever went out to this part of Texas and the first time I ever hunted mushrooms there. All right.